Hi, I'd like to talk to you about end-to-end quality and customer satisfaction. Do you have end-to-end quality where you work? Do your employees understand who their actual customers are? Hi, Brian McCorder here with Black Belt Lean Thinking. And I want to talk to you again about end-to-end quality. Okay, when it comes to customer satisfaction and providing quality, we all understand how important it is. Satisfied customers mean ongoing revenue and continued business. We want happy customers. Quality is important. But do your employees understand end-to-end quality? Do they understand who their next downstream customer is? And do they view them as an actual customer? If you look behind me right here, we have, we'll call our little widget factory. So in our widget factory here, I've got at the top end-to-end quality. This is what we're looking at. We have several processes, and this is typical of almost any operation. And to be honest, it doesn't matter what operation we're talking about when we talk about end-to-end quality. This could be a hospital, it could be a restaurant. We have different activities, different tasks. We have supplier and customer relationships. And the main point is to understand who your customers are and deliver good quality all the way out to the end user. So in this operation here, and this is typical that I see of a lot of factories that I visit, we'll put together our operations and that these are all different processes that happen. I kept it pretty generic and I've got 6 processes here. So our processes are order taking, so the ones that first get the order. Then we have molding. We'll call this a widget factory. So our widgets have to be molded. Then they get painted. Then they go to assembly, go to packaging, to the warehouse, and then out to the customer or it leaves the facility. Now typically what I will see is for each one of these we have kind of an island of excellence. You know, each one is looking at just taking care of itself. So if we go into the molding operation and we ask them about their specifications, you know, what do you need to do to have a successful molded widget? And they might give us their specifications and show us some standard work, show us their quality controls. And in their eyes, and again, this is what I'll often see, is if we're making all those standards, you know what, life is good, we're a good molding department, we're a little island of excellence, life goes on. If I ask them who their customers are, most likely I hear out here, the end users. You know, our customer is Walmart, Home Depot, whoever. But the problem with this is you don't have any of that buy-in to end-to-end quality. There's none of that service orientation as you're flowing downstream. We never want to send bad quality to that next downstream customer. One of the factories that I'd work in, we had what I just demonstrated to you. Everyone saw themselves as kind of their own little entity. If we meet our requirements, we do our job well, you know, no injuries or anything like that, life is good. But there's no thought of who that downstream customer is. When someone downstream would call up and complain, you know, say Payne's complaining about issues with the molded widgets, you know, they view it as, man, they're just whining. They're complaining. They're in spec. What do you want from us? Again, there's none of that ownership. As I mentioned, in one of the factories I worked on where we had this, we decided we wanted to really improve our end-to-end quality. We wanted everyone to understand who their next downstream customer was. Now, this was in a large fluorescent lamp factory, so we'll say this first one is the glass plant where they make the glass. We'll call this second one actually the paint department where they're painting the tube, then it goes on to assembly and blah, blah, blah. Well, in the glass department, when we started promoting the idea of end-to-end quality, okay, who's your downstream customer? Everything in business is a supplier-customer relationship. Remember, we talked about in the X Factor book and some of my other videos that all businesses are part of a symbiotic three-part relationship: customers, employees, suppliers. Okay, our employees are the ones that do the work, our team, so we need to create this teamwork methodology where we're all working together as part of a big group. We got to know who our suppliers are and who we serve as our customers. But we want that all through the organization. So what we did was, for the glass department, which was our first part, we told them and really preached to them that your customers are the paint department. You want them to be ecstatic with the service you provide them. It's not enough to be in spec. We want to provide every aspect of your relationship, your service to them. We want every aspect of that to be top notch. Not only what you make for them, where you stage it, how you handle it, what can you do to improve your service and relationship between you and them. When we started doing that, the mechanics between the two processes started talking a lot more. We had self-directed work teams, so each department was a team. They started attending each other's meetings. They started working on group projects. We noticed an interesting phenomenon took place, whereas they no longer operated like an individual entity. What we saw was, all of a sudden, they were operating together. They started bragging about them. They liked the service they were providing. So they started bragging about the individuals that provided their glass. Man, Frank does a great job. We need to protect him and take care of him because he's supplying really good glass to us. Good job, Frank. What we saw, we kept spreading that on downstream. So we saw it really spread, and now they started looking at their next group as their customer. What can we do for you? Are you satisfied with, in this case, the molds we're providing to the paint providing to the assembly? So each one is looking at that downstream person as, we're no longer satisfied by just meeting our requirements. We're going to measure our satisfaction by our customers' satisfaction. If they're happy with us, life is good. So now the paint department would ask assembly, are you satisfied with our service? Do you have any quality issues? Do you have any ways that we can improve our service to you? Not just what we provide, but every aspect of it. And we kept going with that throughout that glass plant. And that's what you want to do here. Almost didn't get them. Until you go all the way out to that customer. Almost didn't capture the customer. That's what you want. You want to tie your processes together. Everything comes down to that supplier-customer relationship. And when they hook into that and start working as a team now you end up with end-to-end quality. We measure our success by customer satisfaction. We're always in a customer-supplier relationship. Who do you supply? Are you doing your best to make them a satisfied customer? Again, on and on and on down. I mentioned this could be a restaurant. The wait staff is ones taking care of the initial customers coming in. But who takes care of them? Really, their supplier would be the kitchen. The kitchen needs to see themselves as supplying good quality service to the wait staff. Again, through the entire process, we want that end-to-end quality. Do your employees understand who their next downstream customer is? Do they see their success based on how happy and satisfied their customer is? When you do that, it changes everything. I've got a friend who was part of the transformation for the factory I was talking about. She was a mechanic in it. And I asked her, I go, remember back when, before we really implemented lean and we didn't understand, end-to-end quality, when each department just kind of took care of themselves, and how different everything changed when we started promoting, we're going to base your success on how happy your downstream customer was. And she goes, oh yeah, that changed everything. It actually made the place a lot better to work at. Again, you got these relationships going, and we became one big family, to where now you've got end-to-end quality. From the beginning to the end, you've got a team, you've got a family. We're taking care of our outside suppliers, and we're doing our best for our external customers, but we're doing it in a team atmosphere. If we can improve anyone's life downstream, we want to do it. Like I said, when you really establish that, you get end-to-end quality, you get a good understanding of who your downstream customer is, then everything changes. So hopefully this gave you an idea on something that you can look at in your own organization. Do you have good end-to-end quality? Do your employees understand that dynamic between customer and supplier? And do they know who their downstream customer is? Until next time, Brian McWhorter, Black Belt Lean Thinking. Thank you.